What is going on, guys, and welcome to CSS tutorial. In this video we're gonna look how we can create a fixed navbar on top, something like this. As you can see that as I'm scrolling down, the navbar just stays there, and I'm just gonna make it bigger for you to see. And you can see that I added some borders. However, this one doesn't have a border, and this one also has that class active where it's if it's like a home page, it's staying, you see, green, and if I'm hovering over them, you see, as I'm hovering over here, it doesn't change, right? So let's go back to our index over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this main apart from the body actually selector, because that one I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm just going to cut it over here, and I'm going to go back to index here. And I'll show you that right now I have basically, you can see that I have 4 links over here, but I already floated this first list item to the right, so maybe I'm just going to delete that, but I'm going to leave this class active here so I don't have to create it again, because we already know how to do that. We just add a class over here, and then at the end we're just going to style it. So now you can see that I have a very basic unordered list, 4 list items, and here I have a div with a bunch of text in it, right? So obviously I'm gonna jump right now to the main CSS, and we're just gonna start styling. So the first thing obviously we're gonna do with unordered list, where as always we're just gonna get rid of margins and paddings, and we'll go list style type, right? Well, in this case I'm just gonna start with list style type over here. List style type, it's like this one, and I'm gonna say that I want none. And then I'm going to say that I want margin 0 and I want padding 0 also. Both of them should be 0. So the next thing that I would want is probably to have some kind of background color, right? So I chose the black this time, so I'm just going to go with background color, and I'm going to say that I want it black. And the next thing that I would want to do is probably actually have it fixed and on top. So I would say that I would want my I want position over here. I would want position should be fixed like this, and it actually should be on top, and the top should be 0. Therefore, if I would want it in the bottom, it obviously would be bottom 0. And the next thing what I would want to do is do the width, and the width I would want to do like 100%, right? So now I can see that it's spanning all across, and that's pretty much should be it for now, apart from the fact that when we're going to be actually placing these links, we're going to be floating them to the left because we're making them blocks. So we know that if we're doing that within a div, it's actually we need to use overflow hidden property, we need to use the property overflow, and then we need to use the value hidden over here. Otherwise they're just going to be all over the place. And the next thing that I would want to do is actually go to the list items over here, and I would want to say that I would want them to be float, and I would want them to be float left, right? So you can see right now how they actually moved all to the left, right? And I think for list items for now it's going to be that's it, but I'm just going to probably add the borders that I showed you in the beginning. So the next thing that we would want to do is actually start styling our anchor tags. So the first thing we would want to do is display, and we would want it to be display block over here like this. And the next thing what we would want to do probably is, let's say we're going to do the color, and we're going to do the color white, and let's say again as always text align center. I'm going to add some padding over here, padding 10 pixels, kind of big, right? Now you can see what's happening because we're not obviously working with the responsible screen, right? You can see that if I obviously as I'm going smaller, the actual navbar is kind of messing up, right? Well, we would have to fix that with responsible screen. And the next thing that I'm gonna add is actually got rid of this text decoration. And text decoration, I'm just gonna say that I want text decoration none. And I think that's gonna be pretty much it. And what I'm gonna do over here, and right now I'm just gonna order border, and I'm gonna say border right, right like this, and I'm gonna say that it should be 2 pixels solid red. All right, so that's gonna be my thing. And the next thing as we're gonna be adding is obviously as we're hovering, we're gonna say that the colors should be different, right? So we go with list item, we go with a anchor tag, and then we say hover. And right away, we're just gonna add not the class that is active, because the active class we're gonna style a little bit differently. And over here, we would write not, and then we would write a class name over here, and this is gonna be active. And over here, I'm just gonna say if I'm hovering over the links, they should have a different background, right? So what I'm gonna do over here, I'm just gonna say background, and I'm gonna say color again, and I'm gonna say, let's say something like green. Right, and the color of the fonts, I'm just gonna say like a red or something like that. So color is gonna be red. So now we have that settled. So as I go over here, you can see that if I'm going on the top, you can see what's happening. That about and info is actually they're turning green and red fonts. However, the home stays the same because this is this active class over here that I did. I just kind of skipped a step because in the previous videos we have covered this, that if I have this class over here and I actually include this class in this pseudo class, and I said that that's the only thing that I don't want is active, therefore the rest of the links are fine, but this one is not showing. And what I would want to do right now, I would want to actually style that class, so I would say active, and I would want to say that actually it's gonna be a, let's say, completely blue, right? So I'm just gonna say something like this, and I'm gonna say background color, and I'm just gonna say blue, something like this. So now you can see that I have 4 of them like this, and this one stays active blue, and as I'm hovering over this one, actually they stay the same. And you can see that if I'm going up and down, you can see that it's actually the Navbar is fixed. Now the last thing that I want to show you is how we can actually float a home element over here. We would want to float it all the way to the right. So what we would need to write over here, we would write over here style in the first list item. That's the one that we would want to move. And we would say style, and over here we would write in quotation marks, we would say float, and we would say right. And now it's floated all the way right. Now here's the deal though, I probably wouldn't want this this border here all the way on right. You can see this red one that the rest of them have. I probably wouldn't want that, right? So what would I do? Well, here's the deal. We go back to main CSS and we see that we actually added a border to the list items, right? Border right, 2 pixels solid red. Well, what we would need to do is actually, again, use a pseudo class. In this case, I'm just going to say list item, and I'm going to say that this is going to be a first child, which right now it doesn't look like that, but actually, if we know that the home was actually the first child that we had, right? So, and then we would say that border right should be none. So I write over here border right, and I say none. And you can see how that border right away disappears. So now I have only these 3 borders, and this is how we can use actually the pseudo classes if we have a case where we actually need to get to some particular element. So let's just make it bigger, and let's check it out what we have. Let's maybe, you know what, let's add some line breaks so it's a little bit longer. I mean, not that it should be long enough, but over here I'm just gonna say a line break, and I'm just gonna copy them so I can scroll down a little bit more. So if I do like this, you can see that I have way bigger, right? And you can see how this nav bar is staying here. This is gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next video.